I want to say hello to everybody, and I want to thank you very much for this invitation, to Bishkek, to this urban forum. It's for traveling from Switzerland to here, but I hope that it's worth for everyone.
Спасибо большое за приглашение на Урбан форум. Достаточно далеко от Швейцарии и Кыргызстана, но мы знали, что стоит посетить это мероприятие, очень важно, и поэтому приехали и рады здесь находиться.
There was mentioned before that we have this very democratic tradition in Switzerland, and I'd like to show you on a concrete situation how it works and how we work on discussion, on dialogues, in planning process. I've been working in the Municipal Office for Urbanism in the city of Zürich from 2002 until 2013. And I was particularly interested in these new plannings that were implemented at that time. That was the reason I was applying for the job.
Я надеюсь, что сегодняшний форум будет проходить достаточно на активном уровне. Я бы со своей стороны хотел сказать, что с 2002 по 2013 год я работала в муниципалитете Цюрихе, и я была специально приглашена на это мероприятие, и целью было, которую я подала, заявление на эту работу, было основное, чтобы поделиться опытом и развивать сотрудничество.
They called it this conceptual urbanism, and it mainly means that processes of changes have to be accompanied by the municipality, but also means that you have to bring together different positions and different interestings, and that you should be able sharing development visions and building also confidence into these visions by planning designs, by visualizing all these ideas, and that you also have to lending all to the city neighborhoods a more distinctive and more characteristic identity.
Моя тема презентации называется «Концептуальный урбанизм». Это два процесса, которые необходимо сочетать между собой. И в целом, как вы видите на слайде, процесс охватывает три этапа и качество. Диалог как способ развития, время как фактор, развитие городов посредством истории и так далее.
I have this input, or what I'm referring to, it's in two parts, and I mainly concentrate now on the first part, but processes and talking about qualities, they belong together. So I would talk about dialogue as a method, considering time as a factor, and developing the city from its history. And this would also make the link to the second part, that it's how we develop the image of a city, and how the public spaces, the public spaces are to be achieved.
В целом презентация разделена на две части, но я не буду особо сосредотачиваться на всей презентации, но я хотела бы выделить два пункта. Как видите, я уже говорил, первая концепция и качество. Когда мы говорим о диалоге как методе, мы имеем в виду как способ развития городов. Второе — время, как я уже говорил. И третий пункт в процессах — то, каким образом должно осуществляться развитие городов. Затем мы переходим к качеству, а именно то, каким образом раскрывать, создавать имидж этого города. И второе качество — это важность и в городском, так скажем, пространственном измерении проводить как консультативные советы как по городскому ландшафту и так далее.
This is a view from the city of Zurich, from the hills. You see in the background our mountains, also in the south. And this is from the year 2006.
На слайде представлено изображение или картинка Швейцарии, Цюриха 2006 года с высоты как панорамный вид. И как видите, расположено озеро, и далеко видны горы на юге Швейцарии.
This book I'm referring to, this is like a detailed description of all is about this conceptual organism. It was written during the time when I was working in the city of Zurich, and there's a lot of, and I think it's still available. It's in English and in German.
На этом слайде вашему вниманию представлена книга, которую я ссылаюсь. Она была разработана еще тогда, в 2007, как вы видите, и когда я еще работала. К сожалению, она на английском языке, и вы можете к нему обращаться. Именно вот, как сказать, касающийся понятия концептуальный урбанизм.
This is a plan of the city of Zurich that gives you an idea how it is composed. And as we see, our cities are no longer homogeneous cities. We have from many periods of the history, from the medieval cities in the center, we have extensions from the 19th century, we have extensions from the earlier 20th centuries, and of course of the recent years. That means that we have to deal with very different structures, and urban planning for the future never means that you can just have one idea for everything, but it means that you have to deal with differences, that you have to deal with all these maybe contradictional structures, and that you have to develop them from its own roots and from its history. Oh. So now it comes to like the normal zoning plans. The first ones in Zurich, they were implemented about the 1940s, 1950s. In Zurich, it was first established in 1946 a zoning plan over the whole city's areas. And normally, these plans, they are dealt or in a political and in a technical discourse. It's always the parliament who has to decide about these city plans. And basically they are adapted and rethought every 10 to every 20 years because they have to be adapted to new or current requirements, to new developments, to new questions, to new challenges. There's no translation anymore? You have it? Okay, it was again in, hold on like this. And in the 1980s, it was again this process of just adapting the zoning plan to new challenges. That was all about these former industrial areas. In the 1980s, all our production, the manufacturing, they left the cities, they left Switzerland, and very big areas, they like fall empty. Nothing happened. It was no more construction or production on these areas. And concerning about the zoning plan, everyone had like contradictory ideas about what in future is going to happen on these areas. The left ones, they wanted to have just more living spaces, and the right parties, they wanted to have more economies, more business, more offices, more speculation. And so it was so contradictory that they could not find like a consensus. Also, we have the public, the people. They also have legal possibilities, not only by the parliament to make interventions, but also by the law. You can say, I do not agree about these and these points. And all these contradiction discussions, they were like blocking the implementation of the new zoning plan. So how to come out of this dilemma? It was, yes. And the former mayor, that was in the 1996, he said, okay, we cannot just go on with this normal technical planning process, but we have to intervene with new methods. We have to talk together. And he invented like a huge amount of interested people, the landowners, the politicians, experts from the administration, neighbors, cultural interested people. They invited also experts from abroad, and just to say, now we have like a round table that, in matter of fact, it was a round of 11 tables. And they were talking about 10 or 11 times during more than a year about what is the future of these huge areas situated nearly in the middle of the cities. How are we going to develop them, and with what instruments and with what means? Yes, next. And they also said just talking about it isn't enough. We have to have pictures, visions. And they invited 3 architectural teams, 2 from Switzerland, 1 from the Netherlands, just to show how possibly these big quarters could develop into the future. They showed, of course, very visionary things. They introduced new views, new areas, new functions into these former industrial areas. And of course, none of these projects were ever realized. But the sense of these visual models and sketches are just to implement new pictures, and also to make it possible that people do not talk together or against each other, but they started to talking about the models, about the project, about the ideas. And this was like a catalytic function of these visionary models, that people could see what could be the chances, what could be the possibilities, or what could be also like the differences. So it was always this Office for Urbanism of the city of Zurich that had the lead of these processes, of these discussions. And they said, not enough that we are like a big round table, we also have to go into public. They made like a resume of this, of all these discussions and sketches that were done, and also they documented what everyone agreed to. And there was a big exhibition in the town hall of the city. There were public discussions about what happened during this year or more, and also in newspapers, beyond architects, they were discussed about what these people had worked on. In the end, as a matter of fact, it was very abstract. You see, like, schemes of, there could be cultural functions, there could be production, there could be living areas. But very important is like the 2 sketches on the right side, because they were fixed like where people are moving, transportation, infrastructure, public spaces, green spaces, where people would move with the cars, where people moved by bike or as pedestrians. So it was like only the bones of a future development was defined, and the rest they agreed just to make competitions, just to evaluate for every area the best project. And as you also may see, all these discussions, all these just developing plans and visions for the future, you need time. It was, when I started, it was 1996, and this exhibition and synthesis, it was 1999. Already 3 years passed, and they agreed on these, like the bones of the body. The next picture. Can you go on with the picture? Okay, thank you. No, one. Yeah, like this, yes. So this is just one example. In the year 2000, they started with these volumes, just to find out how big could be the new volumetries on this specific area. It was also to think about, when we build that much, do we have enough infrastructure? How many people are living there? How many people are working there? Where do they come from? Do we have transport possibilities, parking lots, whatsoever? And they decided, no, we don't have that much. We have less than that. Next step, there was a competition. It was an international competition about the urban plan of the same area. And we are now in the year 2001 or 2002. And then they agreed on this scheme on the left side. And now you have to develop special planning instruments. And these instruments, they also go into the parliament to be legal. So it is always like discussion between architects, investors, landowners, and politicians. Only in 2004, 3 years later, 3 years, parliamentary discussion was needed just to make this plan guilty. And they were, just could you go one back? And you see the difference between these volumes on the left side and what happened 4 years later. The open spaces, the public spaces, the transport axis, they are the same, but the volumes changed because the economics changed. They changed programs again within an existing vision, within an existing plan. So we learned that what you really define must be very strong, that it can carry you into the future, that it also could adapt to different economical conditions. And even what is built now is different. Now we have, instead of 2 high-rise buildings, we have 2. And the next step, what was realized, next picture, there are 3. So, and every time when they changed the plans, they changed the discussion, they changed the programs, they had to present these plans in front of the municipality. It was always discussing about what is the new quality when we change the plans. What is the quality for the people? What's about public spaces? So there was always, in these changing planning processes, it was always also a discussion about urban quality, urban public spaces and qualities of architecture. And this is one of the 2 last that leads to the second part. I think it's going to be in another session. But still, the municipality and the Office for Urbanism, they always said our main philosophy is that what we try to develop in the future, we always want to carry with us the history of the quarter. It's a very interesting discussion about what is the quality of the historical, and what do we learn from it, and what do we bring into the future plans. This is from, yes, next. And this is one of the basic plans where you see that we defined different characteristics that also are different epochs of the cities. And we always said it's a difference if you are planning in the green areas or in the blue areas or in the dark areas, because you have different condition that comes out of the history of the quarter. So that's in a very brief summary what we understood in this conceptual urbanism. That is a lot of talking of how to say, of making plans and renew the plans. But you also have to be aware there needs to be in the municipality, you need to have the politicians who agree to proceed this way, and you have to have also the personalities in the Office for Urbanism that force it and that always guides them, that leads them through all these steps of the processes. So thank you.